whatever dogs come into your shelter. So you want to provide that resource for all of them. So we don't, when we're choosing dogs for playgroups, it has to do with their social skills with other dogs and their play styles, but it wouldn't make sense to have it have anything to do with breed. Each individual dog. Just let them show you how into it they're going to be or what challenges they might face. Okay, so right now, I think we have about 100 dogs, and this is not exact, but I would say at least 80 of them are rated as playgroup dogs. And some of them are rated as playgroups by the more advanced handlers, myself and my training behavior coordinator, my public training program coordinator. We're the ones that do like the first intros in dogs. But then a whole chunk of them are rated for the volunteer-run playgroups. So they seem pretty bomb-proof, they like to play with dogs, so they have their own rating, and then we have a couple of volunteers that run those as well. So I would say, 80 out of 100 of our dogs are categorized as playgroup participants. And it's a big population that all rotates around and they meet each other. And sometimes we identify personality conflicts. Like we know that Sally doesn't like to go with Harry, for example, whatever it might be. And we have ways to communicate and make sure they'll be safe that way. It's always based upon individual dogs. Everything that we do in any of our training and behavior programs is based upon individual dogs. So we just don't function based on breed, and we don't have an issue. And I've broken it down to 4 different play styles. So there's the rough and rowdies, which is like the WWF of the dog world. There's the gentle and dainties, just as it sounds, not too rowdy at all. And then I have what I call push and pull, which kind of revolves around a herding style of play, kind of moving and driving other dogs while they're playing. And then seek and destroy, which is the play version of hunting, prey drive. But it's all in play. But those are the 4 for me. No, it's not that it's a breed thing, but there's actually like kind of groupings of dogs. Like we've got a bunch of herding type dogs. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have push and pull play style. It's very interesting. It's really the individual dog. So I can't say that I've had all different kinds of dogs that are rough and rowdy. So no, I don't think it's a breed thing. I think it's an individual thing. Yeah, I think you have tendencies and groupings of dogs, but I mean, you have most retrievers are going to have a natural inclination to retrieve things. Maybe not retrieve well, at least go chase it, pick it up, and play with it. They might not want to bring it back well, but you know, you have tendencies and groupings of dogs. A lot of shelters ask me to walk through the kennels to see if I want to pick which dogs I think will go out to playgroup. And I try to tell everybody again, how I see them in the kennel, I've learned, is not going to tell me anything, so that doesn't matter to me. And typically in kennels we're dealing with that barrier reactivity or unleash reactivity, and what I can say unequivocally, and I can show videotape of it over and over and over again, is that is not indicative necessarily of how a dog is going to be with other dogs if they can socialize with them freely. And I've got great video of dogs acting like Tasmanian devils on the way up to playgroup, letting them in, and they shoot right in and play beautifully. And same thing with dogs acting that way on leash. So no, those 2 behaviors, you cannot identify a dog's social ability with other dogs based upon how they behave on leash or behind a barrier. We live outside of Denver. There's a breed ban in Denver, and there's a lot of breed-specific legislation that's around us. So we're a safe haven for pit bull type dogs, because a lot of the communities around us, it's not safe for them. They're about 16% of our overall intake, and all the same resources are provided to them. We don't separate them out. If, again, like if an Akita is brought up to the fence line and they look all wiggly and happy to come in, I'm not going to say, oh no, it's an Akita, therefore it can't come into playgroup. So it's just based upon the individual dog, and we haven't had any issues. Those live release rates that I talked about pertain to us doing playgroups with all different kinds of dogs. We get hoarding cases all the time from HSUS and ASPCA, and the first thing we do is see if other dogs are valuable to them. Because a lot of times people are scary, the environment is scary, they're not interested in food. It's not very natural for an animal that's that stressed and afraid to appropriately want to eat food at that time. So by introducing them to other dogs, it shows us right away if that's a natural positive for them, and it's something that we can provide for them right out of the chute that helps them to normalize their behavior. So yeah, playgroups is something that we offer to dogs with the whole range of behavioral issues. We find it to be the best balancing piece of our training and behavior program. It's the one thing I would never want to give up. If I had to give up everything else, I would keep Playgroups. I have a phenomenal video of a dog that was sent to us from HSUS. He was an intact male, and he was a hoarding case suspected. They were suspected to be fighting their dogs, and Billy was one of my dogs that I would use to socialize dogs with problems, and I have him in with, you know, another male that was behaving badly, coming in with Billy, my intact fight bus dog, helping out.